Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, today we're diving into something that is quietly but absolutely fundamentally reshaping global business. We're talking about fair pay. Specifically, we're going to unpack a framework called the Responsible Living Wage Standard, or the RLWS for short. And what's really cool about this is how it takes fair pay from being just, well, a noble idea and turns it into a verified, certified reality.
Now, I want to kick things off right here with this incredibly powerful declaration from the International Labor Organization. They state, a living wage is not charity. It is a human right. Wow, right? Before we get lost in checklists and audits, we really have to ground ourselves in why this actually matters. This is so much more than just a box-ticking exercise for corporations. It's a profound human issue about making sure the very people who build our global economy can actually afford to live in it.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the fair pay reality, meet the RLWS framework, check out the 3 levels of certification, go through the 10 core criteria, peek inside the audit process, and finally, look at starting your certification journey.
All right, Section 1, the fair pay reality. We're looking beyond the minimum.
So right now, global supply chains are facing just an unprecedented level of scrutiny. A lot of this is being driven by strict new laws like the EU's Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive, that's the CSDD. And at the heart of all this is a massive gap in how we actually define compensation. I mean, for decades, businesses have just relied on statutory legal minimum wages. But get this, in some parts of the world, that legal minimum barely covers a third of actual living costs. No way, right? A responsible living wage completely flips the math. It ensures a decent standard of living, plus, importantly, a little discretionary income for emergencies, because life happens.
And when we talk about bridging that gap, what are we really talking about? We're talking about access to clean water, nutritious food, and safe shelter. At its absolute core, fair pay is about real human beings being able to provide for their families without that crushing, day-to-day financial anxiety.
Moving on to Section 2, meet the RLWS framework. This is where we see the paradigm shift.
You know what makes the RLWS so credible right out of the gate? The creators didn't just invent a brand new standard out of thin air. No, they stacked it directly on top of the most respected international guidelines already out there. We're talking ILO conventions, UN guiding principles, ISO auditing standards, and IDH-recognized methodologies. It's essentially an evolution, not a total reinvention. They built on what already works.
Okay, Section 3, 3 levels of certification. Let's look at the ladder to fair pay.
Now, if you're an employer, the word audit might sound, well, a bit intimidating. But the RLWS actually treats this process like a ladder. It's super approachable. Step 1, that's simply showing a commitment to an improvement pathway. Step 2 is getting on track with a solid, credible roadmap. And then Step 3 is the big one, full certification, which is valid for a full 36 months. The main takeaway here, you absolutely do not have to be perfect on day 1. You just need a transparent plan to get there.
Section 4, the 10 core criteria. This is the real engine of the RLWS.
All right, here is the actual blueprint independent auditors use. And let me tell you, it goes way beyond just glancing at a single paycheck. They're evaluating the entire ecosystem of your workplace. They're asking things like, are the leaders bought in? Are there real protections against extreme overtime? Can workers safely voice their grievances? And, absolutely crucially, are the pay slips transparent enough that workers can actually understand how they're getting paid? It's the whole shebang.
But let's step back from the technical checklist for just a second. All 10 of those criteria, they exist to ensure scenes exactly like this one. Having reasonable hours and transparent pay literally impacts a parent's ability to safely raise their child and secure a good future for them. That's what's really at stake here. Next up, Section 5, inside the audit process. Let's tame the math.
Now, what's really interesting here is how they figure out the audit process. The standard uses this incredibly clever risk-based approach, which, let's be honest, is a huge relief if the very idea of an audit makes you break out in a cold sweat. So, if your lowest base wage is less than 70% of the living wage benchmark, you're classified as high risk. That means mandatory on-site audits for everyone. But if you're in that medium risk sweet spot, say 70 to 100%, they use a square root sample of your sites to keep it manageable and scalable. And if you're low risk, meaning you're already paying over 100% of the living wage, your audit can actually just be done remotely.
Now, when those auditors do arrive on site, the math scales right along with the size of the facility. Let's say you have a medium-risk site with 100 workers. Auditors are going to individually interview 8 people and dig into 10 files. But what if you're at a massive facility with over 2,000 workers? Well, they're pulling at least 50 workers aside for one-on-one interviews and checking over 60 files. So it's not just a quick passing glance at a spreadsheet. This is real, boots on the ground, verifying that actual, real people are being compensated fairly.
And keep in mind, getting certified isn't some one-and-done PR win. No way. It's a sustained 3-year life cycle. After that initial baseline audit in year 1, years 2 and 3 require what they call surveillance audits. Basically, these are annual check-ins to track your improvements and make absolutely sure there's no backsliding. Then, in year 4, you do a full recertification to renew the cycle.
Finally, Section 6, starting your certification journey. Let's talk about the payoff. You know, it's super important to realize that this framework isn't just siloed off into some single niche industry. Whether you're managing a highly complex garment supply chain, a massive agricultural operation, or a multinational healthcare network, the RLWS is designed to adapt to your world. Simply put, if you employ people, this applies to you.
So the crucial point to take away from all this is that getting certified isn't just an ethical win, though it certainly is that. It's actually a massive competitive advantage for your organization. You get credible, independent third-party evidence of fair pay, which helps you retain buyers and win new orders globally. You confidently meet the expectations of strict due diligence laws like the CSDDD, and you directly advance core UN Sustainable Development Goals. Basically, it proves to consumers and your business partners that you don't just talk the talk, you actually walk the walk.
The framework is built, the methodologies are completely sound, and those independent auditors, they're ready to go. So, the only real question left is, are you ready to join the movement for living wages? It is definitely time to turn those corporate promises into certified progress. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.